What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA. And check this out. I wanted to go over some of the AI provisions that came out of the WGA deal because I do find it interesting that what they didn't do is they didn't close the door completely on the usage of AI. As a matter of fact, they kept it wide open. And it kind of tells me that both writers and the studios wanted to keep AI on the board. They didn't want to remove it off the board. They wanted to keep it in play because I think both sides plan on using AI for their benefit. They left this thing wide open. Now let's go over this first bullet point because I think this is the most important bullet point of them all. AI can't write or rewrite literary material, and AI generated material will not be considered source material under the NBA, meaning that AI generated material can't be used to undermine a writer's credit or separated rights. Boom. So that's basically saying, look, AI can't be the sole writer, on a particular item, okay? Like on a screenplay or whatever. It cannot be the sole item. It can't be the thing that wrote the script by itself. Because if that happens, it's essentially having to do with the writer's credits, of course, and then also copyrights. Yeah, let me dig into that with this article from The Hollywood Reporter. Hollywood's AI compromise. Writers get protection. Studios aim for copyrights. So yeah, basically it says the agreement requires writers to obtain consent if they want to use generative AI and allows studios to reject the use of generative AI that could adversely affect the copyrightability or exploitation of the work. And then here's the section of the article that addresses it, of course. The companies agree that because neither traditional AI or GAI is a person, neither is a writer or a professional writer, states the memorandum of agreement. Therefore, written material produced by traditional AI or GAI shall not be considered literary material. And it continues here, by keeping AI on the table, studios are looking to copyright material created by writers working in conjunction with the human mimicking bots. Essential to the copyrightability of such works is a human rewriting or at least touching up any AI produced script. Material solely produced by AI is not copyrightable. This means that the studios need writers to pursue copyrights and exploitations of such works. Yeah, so basically, they can't just have the AI spit out a script and be like, all right, that's ours. We had the AI do it. Nope, you need a human writer to come in and at least touch it up, right? It's either got to rewrite it or it's got to at least touch it up. All right. And then once they do that, now it's copyrightable. But at the same time, as it states here, this cannot be the basis for disqualifying a writer from eligibility for separated rights. So the writer still gets the writer credit. Even if all he did was just touch it up or do a little light rewriting, he still gets the writer's credit. And then the studios in exchange can go ahead and use that. All right, so it's a win-win for both sides. Basically they're saying, look, AI is here. It's not going anywhere. Let's just go ahead and figure out how we can work together to make that happen so that the writers can use it, so that the studios can use it, and both can benefit. And then that brings us to the second bullet point where it says a writer can choose to use AI when performing writing services if the company consents and provided that the writer follows applicable company policies, but the company can't require the writer to use AI software, e.g. ChatGPT, when performing writing services. So I found this also very interesting because I think ultimately, listen, my take is every writer across the board, doesn't matter who you are, whether you are a screenwriter, whether you're a novel writer, whether you're a journalist, whether you're a technical writer writing, stuff for like textbooks or whatever, whatever kind of writing you do, eventually AI is going to be a part of your life. Okay. I think AI is essentially just a technological tool, an advanced tool, just like any other advancements in technology. And ultimately, I think every single writer across the board is going to have an AI assistant that they use to help them with their writing, to make it more faster or to make it more efficient, to make it better, whatever the case may be. I think that all writers ultimately will have that. I kind of envision it like how Tony Stark uses Jarvis, right? Like Tony Stark isn't doing all of this stuff manually himself. He's got his assistant, which is Jarvis. And he just kind of kicks back and says, you know what, Jarvis, this is what I'm thinking we want to put together for this. Draw me up a spec of X, Y, and Z or whatever. And then Jarvis kind of shows him the spec. Tony Stark looks at it, starts making some changes. Let me rearrange this, that. He has this little screen or whatever. I don't know what that thing is. But, he uses all of that stuff to kind of assist him with whatever's going on in his mind. All right. So that leaves him free to conceptualize what it is that he's trying to see instead of doing all the little nuts and bolts of actually using a screwdriver or a hammer or a welding torch. Now, sometimes he does pick that stuff up, and I think writers will do the same thing. They'll pick up the pen and they'll jump in and scribble something out or whatever. But that's how I kind of envision AI ultimately will become. It'll be a tool that writers use to just kind of speed things up. So they're not going through writing out all of this technical stuff. Like the AI will be programmed with every writer's like sensibility and style, like that person's writing style, how they normally like to write. The AI will be programmed with all of that information. And then the writer will just say, okay, let's talk about it. AI Jarvis, I want to write a novel. I'm imagining a character, here's his description, blah, blah, blah. This is what he looks like. This is what he's wearing. All right. And then the AI will just, generate that text, say, okay, here it is. It's John Jones. He's this, 6'4", 250 pounds. He's this, that, and the third, and it'll write it in a narrative way. For the novel or for the script or whatever, it'll put it in a narrative style that fits what the writer generally would write like, and then he'll say, all right, now he's walking into a restaurant and he sees a, robbery in progress or whatever, and the AI will then start to construct that scene. And then the writer can come behind and, all right, let's see, no, I don't like that. Let me edit this out, do whatever. That's how I see AI ultimately being used by every writer in the book, okay? Everybody that's writing in the game today, that's what I see. But what's interesting is that they won't be able to use it if the company says they can't, If the company consents to it, then, and again, I don't see why the company wouldn't. But if any writer is trying to avoid using AI, says, no, I'm just going to do the thing that I want to do. All right. So that might work for them. But I thought this was interesting to say they can choose to use AI when performing writing services, but the company can't require the writer to use AI software when performing writing services. Well, you can't require anything, but I don't see how it would be difficult for a company to say, all right, look, we want a script in, about 2 weeks, like they give them some escalated deadline. We're like, well, I can't write that fast. Well, I don't know. They got that AI Jarvis writing tool I've heard a lot of writers using. Maybe you can use that. Maybe that might help you speed things up, And then ultimately, all the writers are just going to be forced into this thing like, all right, I got to get to learn how to use this particular tool because there's no way I can get a script turned around in a couple of weeks and get this thing done. So I'm going to have to go back to I'm going to have to learn how to use AI Jarvis or whatever the case may be. Now, this next bullet point, the company must disclose to the writer if any materials given to the writer have been generated by AI or incorporate AI generated material. That seems to go without saying for me. It's like, this treatment that we gave you or this synopsis, we had AI write that up, We had an idea. We came up with that. We just said, hey, AI, write that. The AI wrote it. Now we're giving it to you. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Let them know that this is an idea that came or that was generated by an AI, program. Nothing wrong with that. Now, this last one, the WGA reserves the right to assert that exploitation of writers' material to train AI is prohibited by NBA or other law. I thought this was extremely important because it's not saying that you can't use scripts to train AI. It's not saying that. All it says is that the WGA reserves the right to assert that you're exploiting the writer's material to train AI and that it's prohibited by NBA or other law, And you got to start thinking like, the studios have tons of scripts, right? Tons and tons and tons of previously produced scripts by all kinds of other writers or whatever, and it belongs to them. It's their material. It belongs to the studios. Yeah, the writer wrote it, but then they sold that script to the studios. The studio said, thank you very much. This is our property now. And if we want to feed this script into an AI to teach it how to write, they're saying, well, this is something that we're thinking about doing. And the writers are like, well, we can always reserve the right to say that that's not cool, that that's prohibited by this. But they didn't put it in writing and say, yes, the WGA, it should have said something to the effect of the WGA asserts or, claims that you cannot use writer's material to train AI, or something. They didn't put that in. So I thought that was interesting. So what will the studios do with that information? I don't know. And probably nothing. If they can make a deal with the writers. But the thing is, they can't use the AI, as it says up here, to write literary material. They can't use the AI strictly for that purpose. They're going to always have to involve a human in order to, get the copyrights. So it's interesting. I find all of this very interesting. I'm not sure. This seems to be a very big question mark, this last bullet point. What are they going to do with that? I guess we'll have to see as the weeks and months and years unfold. But anyway, I think that AI is going to be a tool that's going to be ultimately used across the board by everybody. And we'll have to see how it does. But you guys let me know what you think about these provisions. Jump down in the comments. Give me your thoughts and opinions on that. And thanks for watching. See you next time.